Okay, so we've got about 11 minutes left of class. We don't have time to write, but here's the question, the task I'd like you to think about, and we'll discuss it and let's dig in. Consider the ways in which scene changes may highlight the development of the characters and their relationships in 2 or 3 plays you've studied. So scene changes, development of characters and their relationships in these 2 plays. Death of a Salesman and The Glass Menagerie. Let's just get substance, and we might even think about approach to a response to a question like that. Ideas?
Would we start by describing the scene changes, like examples of the scene changes in the 2 plays? Because that is something that's important, that scene changes are, scenes are supposed to be seamless in transition.
So what do you guys think? I want to hear that again.
I was thinking maybe we could start with describing examples of scene changes, because like Glass Menagerie, the scene changes are more classical, while the Death of the Salesman scene changes are supposed to be seamless. I was thinking we should establish what the different scene changes were like.
Are you thinking? Are you meaning in our discussion or in the structure of an essay?
In the structure of an essay, like point out it's because of their different natures that they achieve such different things.
So that's interesting. What's wrong with that? Because of their different natures, they achieve different effects. You speak up, sir, everyone.
Well, Glass Menagerie is 7 or 8 or 9 scenes. Basically,
Several
scenes. These scenes are
7.
7. They're short. So this parallels the idea that the Glass Menagerie is this memory play. So it's these fleeting flashes. They even more so effective by the zooming and the lighting and the music. And the Death of the Salesman differs because it only has 2 acts. And although this is too tied with music and lighting, it's each act is far longer. And I guess this is a contrast between the 2.
I was talking more about the scene changes, as in if we interpreted scene to mean segment. In the Death of a Salesman, we could conceivably divide each act into several segments which occur, for example, that have a break when Willie alternates or receive into the past. Like I was thinking of that kind of scene changes, how in Death of a Salesman is fluid and almost basically unnoticeable except for the changes.
Yeah, I'm not sure if this is a stretch, but to comment on how I stated the short scenes are like spikes in your memory. I think the fluidity of the lack of scenes actually in Death of a Salesman, since the play itself surrounds Willie as a character, it could explain how he confuses the past, his dreams, with his present, and so it would suit Death of a Salesman a lot more with this structure.
We could also take into account the amount of time actually passes. And like Death of the Salesman, it's only 1 day from night to night. And the Glass Menagerie, how many days is it?
Gosh, I should know that answer. Go ahead. Do we know how much time passes? It's certainly days. We can say several days. I mean, that's pretty nice, safe qualification. You know, in contrast to the 24-hour period of Death of a Salesman, The glass menagerie spans several days. You know, something that's safe. You can and you don't have to memorize a specific number then. Okay, so back to that. What about this passage of time and the two different places in the approach? I think this is good stuff. Where we can go.
Personally, I think that in that good sense, when we don't really see much of the development in character, we're just seeing how that in the 24 hours we see has developed in the past to the present through the scene through Willie's delusions. So that's considerably different from the class menagerie.
When we say develop, could we possibly interpret it as how, yeah, or how the audience is understanding of the character develops? Could we say that? Because the question makes it sound like it's the character develops, where it could be our understanding of him.
I think that's a really good question. I'll weigh in a second. A couple ways to think about this word develop. I mean, as a picture develops, I mean, a picture is of a static thing, but our understanding of the thing develops as it becomes clearer. So to that extent, our understanding of Willie develops. But I think Willie changes throughout the play too. I mean, there's no doubt this crisis he has at the end of the play happens because of this plot, the course of events. Biff is saying things at the end of the play that he wasn't saying at the beginning. So there is this sense of these are dynamic characters as well. They're not merely static forces playing against each other. So I think we have both going on, but there isn't the kind of development of once was an evil person, now is a nice person from beginning to end. It's not like that. It's a different, more subtle, more psychological develop, and the family relationships develop a great deal. So don't forget that in the question, that we're doing really good thinking about scenes and such, but remember it's about character development and development of character relationships. So we can don't lose track of that part. It's easy to get excited about starting to thinking about scene structure, but it's scene structure for a specific purpose that the question, the task involves. Josh, you said that in contrast to the glass menagerie where there is development, what development did you have in mind?
We can actually see the development of this relationship with Tom, how it changes from temporariness to also together to Jean Weaver, to see Laura.
So the development of Laura as a character, yeah, how she, because of Jim's arrival, how she how she sort of becomes this.
Tom's relationship with Laura develops because at the end of the day we see how he says he is failed to he cares more about Laura than he wishes to, and that kind of and that feeling has developed throughout the play. The strongest indication of that would be when Tom rips his jacket in the process breaking Laura's glass menagerie, and then he comes back from the door pieces, and it's that scene indicated at the end of the play where he realizes that his relationship with Laura is strong.
you in your corner.
This relationship with our needs fortunate that
Okay, we have 2 minutes left. But I want to point out an interesting thing that's gone on in our conversation. Okay. We've had 2 different conversations, yeah? One about characters and relationships, one about scene changes. Now we gotta tug those, this is the crux of the question. We gotta tug those 2 different conversations together to answer the question. And this is where it's hard. And this is why the kind of depth of understanding and versatility, your incredibly versatile understanding of the plays is a challenge. And that's the difference between, you know, a solid essay and an exemplary essay. Because it's not only the facility to write about this stuff, but then it's also the depth of knowledge about the place to do it on recall. That is hard. But I think, and on the wiki, are past questions. You can access this. If you go to the genre study on the wiki, they're there. Make yourself write on them. And notice too that just the discipline of writing is what's going to make it happen. And going back to that question, because you could sit back and think, oh yeah, I see how scenes are different in Death of a Salesman versus The Glass Menagerie, and then you think about the character relations, and you never realize actually that you don't know how you would develop that argument until you try to develop that argument. So again, value the process of taking 90 minutes. Take 100 minutes because you have your books before you. And think about, how would I do that? Go to the text, because you can, so that later when you can't go to the text, you can say something more substantially. Look at the ends of scenes. Look at the beginnings of scenes. Try, and I've broken down in the wiki, I've broken them down into segments. Sorry, the pagination isn't the same as your edition, but you know, I say where it is. If we're in Brooklyn, in what year, or if we're in Howard's office, and try to think about how one scene leads to the next. And I would probably make some notes about, you know, from scene 1 through 7. I would have scene 1, lighting, here's where we are, and so you can start to see in a global sense of the arc of the story, the arc of the plot, and how the different pieces add to conflict and develop the characters, and how lighting works and music works, and in the case of this, how weather works, and all that. So, yeah.
We should just us using a photo instead because there's more character.
No, I wouldn't. Just because it's old, we've been on these 2. Yeah, and these 2, because it's a compare and contrast. I mean, these plays work so well together, and they have so much in common. And sometimes they're doing things that almost seems in tandem, and at other times they're approaching an issue in a little different way, and it's such a great opportunity for an essay, but it's also a great thing to think about. Yeah. Okay, when you hit study leave, I'm available during those times. Please seek me out. Send out emails. I'll hit a reply all, or I'll send it to everybody so that, you know, if Tosh has a question, you'll all benefit from my response. But then get on Facebook. We're there, so we can talk about it as well outside that time. Okay. What's that? You can't? I think I just changed it. You can write on my wall.
Oh, yeah.
All right. You guys can stalk me. Yeah, that'd be great. I would love it. Okay.
Control.